to any of our country houses before you leave England, Mrs. Cheveley?
Oh no, I can't stand your English house parties. In England, people actually try to be brilliant at breakfast. Only dull people are brilliant at breakfast. And no, my stay in England really depends on you, Sir Robert.
Seriously?
Quite seriously. I want to talk to you about the Argentine Canal Company, in fact.
What a tedious practical subject for you to talk about, Mrs. Cheveley.
Oh, I like tedious practical subjects, but I don't like our tedious practical people. There's a wide difference. Besides, you are interested, I know, in international canal schemes. You were Lord Radley's secretary, weren't you, when the government bought the Suez Canal shares?
Yes, but the Suez Canal was a very great and splendid undertaking. It gave us our direct route to India. It had imperial value. This Argentine scheme is a commonplace stock exchange swindle.
A speculation, Sir Robert. A brilliant, daring speculation.
Believe me, Mrs. Cheveley, it is a swindle. Let us call things by their proper names. It makes matters simpler. We have all the information about it at the Foreign Office. In fact, I sent out a special commission to inquire into the matter privately, and they report that the works are hardly begun. And as for the money already invested, no one seems to know what has become of it. I hope that you have not invested in it. I am sure you are far too clever to have done that.
I have invested very largely in it.
Oh, who could have advised you to do such a foolish thing?
Your old friend and mine.
Who?
Baron Arnheim.
Oh. Yes, I remember hearing at the time of his death that he had been mixed up in the whole affair.
It was his last romance, his last but one, to do him justice.
But have you not yet seen my Corrots? They're in the music room. Corrots seem to go with music, don't they? May I show them to you?
I'm not in a mood tonight. I want to talk business.
Oh, I fear I have no advice to give you, Mrs. Cheveley, except to interest yourself in something less dangerous. The success of the canal depends, of course, on the attitude of England, and I am going to lay the report of the commissioners before the House tomorrow night.
That you must not do. In your own interests, Sir Robert, to say nothing of mine, you must not do that.
In my own interests? My dear Mrs. Cheveley, what do you mean?
Sir Robert, I will be quite frank with you. I want you to withdraw the report that you had intended to lay before the House on the ground that you have reasons to believe that the commissioners have been prejudiced or misinformed or something. Then I want you to say a few words to the effect that the government is going to reconsider the question, and that in your opinion the canal, if completed, would be of great international value. You know the sort of thing ministers say in cases of this kind. A few ordinary platitudes will do.
Mrs. Cheveley, you cannot be serious in making me such a proposition.
I am quite serious.
Pray allow me to believe that you are not.
But I am. And if you do what I ask, I will pay you very handsomely.
Pay me?
Yes.
I'm afraid I don't quite understand what you mean.
How very disappointing. And I have come all the way from Vienna in order that you should thoroughly understand me.
I fear I don't.
My dear Sir Robert, you are a man of the world and you have your price, I suppose.
If you'll allow me, I will call your carriage for you. You have lived so long abroad, Mrs. Cheveley, that you seem unable to realize that you are talking to an English gentleman.
I realize that I am talking to a man who laid the foundation of his fortune by selling to a stock exchange speculator a cabinet secret.
What do you mean?
I mean that I know the real origin of your wealth and your career, and I have got your letter too.
What letter?
The letter that you wrote to Baron Arnheim when you were Lord Radley's secretary, telling the Baron to buy Suez Canal shares. A letter written 3 days before the government announced its own purchase.
It's not true.
You thought that the letter had been destroyed. How foolish of you. It is in my possession.
The affair to which you allude was no more than a speculation. The House of Commons had not yet passed the bill. It might have been rejected.
It was a swindle, Sir Robert. Let us call things by their proper names. It makes everything simpler. And now I am going to sell you that letter, and the price that I ask for it is your public support of the Argentine scheme. You made your own fortune out of one canal. You must help me and my friends make our fortunes out of another.
I cannot do what you ask me.
You mean you cannot help doing it? It is not for you to make terms, Sir Robert, but for you to accept them. Supposing you refuse.
What then?
What then? My dear Sir Robert. Well, you will be ruined, of course. Scandals used to lend charm or at least interest to a man, but nowadays they crush him. And this a very nasty scandal. You could never survive it. You would be hounded out of public office. And besides, Sir Robert, why should you sacrifice your entire future rather than deal diplomatically with your enemy? For the moment, I am your enemy. I admit it. Years ago, you did a clever, unscrupulous thing. It turned out a great success. You owe it your fortune and position. And now you've got to pay for it. Sooner or later, we all have to pay for what we do. You have to pay now. Before I leave you tonight, you have got to promise me to suppress your report and to speak in the House in favor of this scheme.
What you ask is impossible.
You must make it possible. You know what your English newspapers are like. Think of the delight they would have in dragging you down.
You want me to withdraw the report and to make a speech stating that I believe there are possibilities in the scheme.
Those are my terms.
I will give you any sum of money that you want.
Even you are not rich enough, Sir Robert, to buy back your past.
I will not do what you ask me. I will not.
You have to. If you don't...
Wait a moment. What do you propose? You said that you would give me back my letter, didn't you?
Yes, that is agreed. I will be in the ladies' gallery tomorrow night at 11:30. If by that time you have made your speech in the terms that I wish, then I will hand you back your letter with the prettiest thanks and the best, or at any rate the most suitable compliment I can think of. I intend to play quite fairly with you. One should always play fairly, when one has the winning cards. The Baron taught me that, amongst other things.
You must let me have time to consider your proposal.
No, you must settle now. I have to telegraph Vienna tonight.
My God, what brought you into my life?
Circumstances.
Go. I consent. The report shall be withdrawn. I will arrange for a question to be put to me on the subject.
Thank you. I knew we should come to an amicable agreement. I understood your nature from the first. And now you can get my carriage for me, Sir Robert. I see the people coming up from supper, and Englishmen always get romantic after a meal, and that bores me dreadfully.